Is hour number 2 of the greatest morning show on television, which is the Now Morning Show here. Yes, I'm saying it with pride because I enjoy what I do and I enjoy putting smiles on all of your faces. So we do hope that your morning is going great so far, and I hope that I'm able to put at least one smile on one face. So, we are going to go through the program this morning, and we always have wonderful content and things to share with you in education and information and inspiration. And one thing I'm really inspired about are the authors we have here in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean as well. And this morning we're going to be chatting with one of those authors, and that author's name is Deborah Baptiste-Samuel, and she's the author of Caribbean Contemplations on Shakespeare. So let's link with Deborah right now. Good morning, Deborah.
Very pleasant good morning to you, Carrie.
I feel very pleasant with that greeting. Pleasant good morning to you as well. Now, let's talk about your book a little bit. First off, why did you do a book on the Caribbean contemplation of Shakespeare? I'm very interested to know.
All right, this book, Caribbean Contemplations on Shakespeare, it was launched yesterday. And it was, of course, a Zoom launch. Very interesting. And this book follows quickly on the heels of Local Habitation and Name, Caribbean Interpretation of Shakespeare. So it was a natural progression to do the Caribbean Contemplations. Local Habitation and Name was also launched a few months ago. And that was the first one. This one, Caribbean Contemplations of Shakespeare, follows through. I am looking at the response to Shakespeare for us as Caribbean people. This is what these books are looking at. To answer your question, I find it extremely fascinating to comprehend and contemplate. Shakespeare, what I'm doing is a Caribbean translation almost of Shakespeare's concept and intention to our Caribbean situation. That in essence is what it is. So Local Habitation and Name looked at the Caribbean interpretation in Shakespeare's plays. As you may remember, I came previously on your program.
Yes, you did.
And I said that I'm doing Caribbean interpretation of Shakespeare's plays. The Tempest, 12th Night, Taming of the Shrew. I've done 9 plays, 7 Caribbean interpretations of Shakespeare. And the students understand it very well when they understand what Shakespeare is aiming to say and they see it alive on stage. So this book explores that kind of post-colonial appreciation of a rereading, a rewriting, and a restaging of Shakespeare. It is a translation in our Caribbean sensibility. The book launched yesterday, Caribbean Contemplations, is original poetry on Shakespeare's characters through Caribbean eyes. Yes?
Yes, so, definitely.
So
yes, go on. I cut you off. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, for instance, in Shakespeare's play, 12th Night, you have a character called Pest. He's a comedian. He's a clown in the play. But he's a very sobering individual. So that when you look at this character, Pest, for example, he is translating easily in our oral interpretation locally in the Caribbean as a fella we will call a Caisonian, because the character is Toby and they are telling him, sing a song for me. We paying your money, sing a song on the spot. Immediately, you know that is extempo. So he's singing extempo. They say, take 6 pence. So Toby tells him, sing a song for me, sing a ditty. And Fest is composing a song and singing. So when we do it in Caribbean interpretation, Fest is really doing the extempo job. So the character Viola actually says, this fellow, Fest, is wise enough to play the fool. And to do it well, he craves a kind of wit. He must observe their mood on whom he jests, the quality of persons, and the time. That is an explanation, definition of the Calypsonian. But here we see a fellow called Fess in a Shakespeare play. But his role is a role we can identify with in our experience. So that is how I was able to look at it through Caribbean eyes and put the creativity on it and start to write the poetry. Let me tell you, Carrie, this book was written in the COVID lockdown. Between the months of March and May, COVID lockdown, I was writing poetry. And so I had a volume of poetry by the end of May. When we went back out in June, July, this book was at the printry. So I thank God for creative time. During the COVID, you can do a lot of creative things.
So true.
And so in the lockdown, I wrote this entire book, which was launched yesterday, looking at Shakespeare's characters with Caribbean eyes.
I'm so fascinated by this. Is this your first book?
Oh, no, not at all. This is 25 years of oratory this year, Carrie. So this book actually is number 14, 1-4.
Wow.
I have 14 books so far. And let me give you a secret, I'm writing another one now.
I'm looking forward to 15 because I'm so fascinated by this one that you've done. And, you know, putting the local perspective, or the Caribbean perspective rather, on Shakespeare characters and translating them in such a way that we can, you know, really relate to them more than what we would have learned in primary and secondary school reading the Shakespeare books. You know, and this is what you're really known for, you know, really taking and putting the Caribbean perspective on some of these classics.
Yes, this is very vital, and I think for the students to have a better appreciation, a fuller appreciation, we are not changing Shakespeare. We are understanding Shakespeare and looking at it through Caribbean lens. So a student doing Shakespeare must know this is not some writer who is so stagnant and distant and remote that we cannot relate. Shakespeare is for all time. Shakespeare is a writer of universal magnitude, and everybody has an opportunity to appreciate him in the local context. We are looking at backchat. I am saying, you know, no introduction to explain that is a response with attitude, sometimes hostile, but the voice is wrapped with grasp of Caribbean style. And so we answer with rebellion, with verbal venom. We have Pico, we have rubber talk, we have calypso, we have body gesture defiant, we have fighting gesture, we have all this going on in the Caribbean. So Canmole and calendar and stick fight, these things end up in the Caribbean interpretation of Shakespeare to understand it. One example I can share with you, Carrie, you know, Shakespeare has a book, Taming of the Shrew, a play, The Taming of the Shrew, which is on the syllabus. I do the plays on the syllabus so the students can understand. And Catherine is a character in The Taming of the Shrew, and she's feisty, she's rebellious, she's challenging the status quo. She's a woman, you wonder how Shakespeare presented such a woman in his time when women were, I suppose, seen and seldom heard. But you find Shakespeare is he's a bacchanalist. He is able to present women as they are. So in Shakespeare, you have all kinds of women, including the bacchanalist. So Catherine, in our Caribbean context, I see her as a kind of Amber Tyler woman. You know, you could see her with the head tie high and the hand akimbo. And she answered back her father, she answered back the husband. She is an Amber Tyler. She's a warrior rebellion. We have that in the Caribbean.
We definitely do. And Deborah, I know we could chat all morning, but we do have to find out where can we get the book before we go to the break.
Well, the book, I will be placing the book in the bookstore RIK today.
Wow,
so
wonderful.
It was launched yesterday, and today I will be putting the books at the RIK stores, and so people will be able to embrace a copy and enjoy how I have looked at the Caribbean contemplation of Shakespeare.
And I think I have to go there and get one of those books myself because it is absolutely fascinating. And with that, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. Congratulations on your 14th book, and we look forward to the 15th. And of course, this is a must-read book, all right? So with me this morning, Deborah Baptiste-Samuel, who is the author of Caribbean Contemplations on Shakespeare and so many more. So go out there, find her book, and get your copy as well.